Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Um, so, quick review from 2 weeks ago. It's been a long time. Um, anyone remember anything or want to review what we covered a couple of weeks ago?
Uh,
Or
I knew
go
that
ahead.
we were like talking about like family, friends, like how we're supposed to treat others.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And we talked about like a lot of different things. Um, Parents, right? How you're supposed to treat parents, how parents are supposed to treat kids. Does anyone remember any hadiths we mentioned? Anything that the Prophet ﷺ said? Something about, yeah, go ahead, Arhan, if you remember.
right, I don't know.
Not sure. Something about whoever doesn't show kindness to the young. Does that give any hints? Whoever doesn't show kindness to the young and whoever doesn't show kindness to the young and respect to the elders is not from amongst us, right? So Prophet ﷺ is basically saying that if you're a Muslim, then this is what you do. You're respectful to the elders, and for the elders, they are supposed to be kind and merciful to the ones who are young. So that's a balanced society. Okay. Um, Sorry about that. All right, let's move on to a new kind of topic, which is going to be talking about. Well, I'll let you guys see for yourself. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So, what does this mean? You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, staying away from what does not concern you. What does this mean to you guys?
Maybe like it means when you're so like if someone does like a bad thing and they're like making you do it, you don't want to do it because
Okay,
it's
that's
bad.
that's kind of similar. And Aryan said staying away from haram.
If there's
Um,
like, it means like if there's like conflict between two people, just don't get in it because it's not any of your business or does not concern you.
there you go. Yeah, it's none of your business. That's basically what this is talking about. Um, and then Aryan is saying, do not stay silent when you see injustice. That's a really that's another good point that I was actually going to ask later. So you basically have two sides, right? Look how everything that we've been learning so far is balanced. You guys see, like, there's a scale. So how are parents supposed to treat children? How are children supposed to treat parents? How are we supposed to treat our elders? How are we supposed to treat people who are younger? So there's a balance. There's a complete balance in Islam, and it's really beautiful. Um, and let's see, Aryan is saying, does not indulging in gossiping fit into the section? Yeah. So Aryan, you're on a roll, man. We're gonna talk about all these things that you're talking about. Very good. So all these things are connected. So let's start with this first one. Staying away from what does not concern you. So first, let's start out with the hadith, which is this. And it's really good if you guys are able to remember these hadiths. Even if you don't remember them word for word. Sorry, one moment. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, even if you don't remember, um, even if you don't remember exactly the wording of the hadith, try to remember like the meaning at least. So look, let's read this hadith. From the beauty of a person's Islam is that he leaves what does not concern him. Right? That he leaves it. He ignores it. He doesn't, go into it. Meaning, the beauty of a person's Islam, the beauty of your own Islam, of your own faith, of your own religion, right, is that you mind your own business. And this it seems like such a small and simple thing, but when we talk about it, like we're gonna discuss how much it can affect a person, how much it can affect a person's Islam, how much it can affect a person's just mental well-being. That uh, if they don't mind their own business. So one example, right? We're gonna talk about a few examples. So one example, Hassan, you gave that if two people are conflicting, right, then you don't that's none of your business, right? And then we also had Aryan add to that, if there's injustice, then you don't stay silent. So let's talk about how to balance this. So one thing is, right, you see, a person is talking on his phone, you're just passing by, you see a person talking on his phone and he's having an argument with his wife, right? A really common thing that you could witness. Um, so and maybe he's talking very rudely or mean, whatever. He's um, swearing at his wife, and he's just a stranger, just walking down the street. Now, what do you do? Do you like talk to him? Do you tell him to calm down, or do you just ignore him? Well, you have to see, is is it going to make things worse? Because number one, it's not really your business, right? It's not really your business. So if you don't think that whatever you're gonna say is gonna make anything better, just move on, just move along. But let's say you're walking again, just down the street, down the park, and you see like someone physically fighting. Now what do you do? Is it your business or is it not your business?
Not your business.
So what should you do? Should you just let the person get beat up?
Maybe just like separate them.
Just separate them? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. So what,
Like
what
talk
happens?
about it.
What happens in school? Like if something like that happened in school, if you come across a fight in school, what do you
Like
do?
tell a teacher.
Yeah, you're supposed to tell somebody, tell someone with authority, some power that, to stop this. In school, they're not gonna advise you to get in between because you can get hurt or, you're gonna get caught up in the mess, which was not your mess, right? It was none of your business. But since someone's gonna get hurt, right? Like Aryan said, injustice, then you have to stop that. And since you yourself are not allowed to like get in between that, at least call someone, right? Or like in the real world outside of school, in the adult world, then people will call the police to get help to break up this fight or whatever it is. So that's minding your own business in terms of people arguing with each other. Now, how about if someone is, let me think of an example. I had an example in mind. Oh, Arush, wa alaikum assalam. You're in this class? I think,
Yeah.
okay, so, okay, that's good. Arush, Arhan, Aryan, and Hassan. Okay, so yeah, right now we're just talking. I don't think you were here past couple weeks, but we were talking about how people are supposed to treat each other. We talked about parents and children and elders and youngers and friends. So now we're just talking about this title, which is staying away from what does not concern you, which basically means minding your own business. Oh, so this other example is, someone, you know, maybe one of your classmates or someone they have they got a new, let's say, I don't know what, maybe like a brand new iPhone or iPad, something, but when I was a kid, other kids didn't really have phones or technology. They used to have video game consoles. Or imagine like one of your classmates gets like the brand new PS5 or something like that. And now you might have some emotion towards that, right? What's the emotion you're gonna have? You might have jealousy. Now again, that's connected to something that doesn't concern you. But because of your jealousy, you might like dislike this person. Or you might, this kid gets whatever he wants. Oh, his parents are so, they always give him whatever he wants, and I wish I had that, etc. So now you're becoming jealous, and you're becoming ungrateful to your own things because you're looking at someone else. You're looking at what someone else owns or what someone else possesses, what someone else has the luxury of. So that's what I mean. This also is considered, you're not minding your own business. You're focusing on other people so much that it's causing you uh, uh, discomfort in your heart. It's causing you jealousy in your heart. Okay, does everyone follow? Is everyone following along?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some other examples of not minding your own business? Ariane, you had mentioned it earlier.
Indulging in gossiping.
Yeah. So that's what's happening here. What are the harms of gossip? What exactly is gossip?
Gossiping is basically talking about a certain someone behind their back, not talking directly to them, talking about them, basically.
Just talking about other people, right? Again, you're concerned with other people that have nothing to do with you, right? You're just talking about other people that has nothing to do with your daily life. You're just saying, "Oh, did you see, what this person said to this person?" And that's it. And you're telling another person about it, and that person is gonna tell another person, or you're gonna go home and just repeat it. It just repeats. But you guys played the game telephone before, right? Probably in a classroom or something. You guys know what I'm talking about, or
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens? You start like in the class. The first student says, I like ketchup in my burger, and 20 students later, the last kid will say, I like uh, mayonnaise on my cake. Something crazy. It's something that has nothing to do with the first sentence. So it just completely changes um, what's happening. So imagine that happens about like a real person's real life situation where, you know, you overhear someone talking about, um, um, their parents. Maybe their parents are going through. Maybe the person said the parents had like an argument or something, and then you spread that rumor until it reaches like a 10th person, and that person starts spreading the rumor that the kid's parents got divorced. Although nothing like that happened, but that's how rumors spread, and that's how rumors get exaggerated, and it can cause harm to people for unnecessary reasons. Now, why do people gossip?
It's a easy thing to talk about. Like it's an easy way to start a conversation. That's why most people talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're just sitting in a room, with like, 4 or 5 people. You guys just ate dinner together. Hey, did you know? Guess what? And why do people like to listen to it?
It's like dramatic and it's like
Yeah,
over the top stuff and it's
yeah,
just
yeah, exactly. These dramas on TV or any sort of TV show, any sort of movie or series, or even books or comics, right? Even if they try to be like as normal life as possible, obviously you have things like superheroes and you have crazy mystery stories. Those are like, you know, they're meant to be exciting and meant to be, um, you know, more than realistic. They're not meant to be realistic. They're fiction. But even the ones that are meant to be as realistic as possible, they'll add like dramatic details. They'll add, things to make it juicy, to keep the person entertained, to keep the watcher continue watching or the reader continue reading the book or comic or whatever it is. So that's what it is. You as a conversation starter want to say something that is juicy, that is, dramatic, that's exciting, entertaining, at the expense of someone else, right? It doesn't matter what's happening to the other person's reputation or to the other person's secrets. You just want to start a conversation, so you start talking about another person. Oh, did you know, like, this person bought this car? This person, like, I don't know why he bought this car. He wasted his money on it, and he can't even afford this and that. And then you just start speaking, and then the other people say, yeah, he's so bad with money. Oh, like, I heard him get in a fight with his wife, all these things. They just start like saying the personal details about this other person who's not even there. He can't even defend himself. And it's just for fun. It's just for entertainment, just pastime. And the thing is that what kind of people gossip and spread rumors like this? It's people who have nothing better to talk about, right? If you can't talk about something that's beneficial, right? What the best thing to talk about? Best thing to talk about would be to talk about, about like, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and the messengers, about how to, you know, better the society, how to better the families. Talk about, how to better your health. Maybe if you're at dinner, you talk about, things that you've learned either from your own books or from your work or school. Those things would be much more beneficial, right? Talking about, oh, I learned this new technique on how not to procrastinate. That's pretty interesting, because so many people procrastinate. And then you talk about, you'll be surprised if you've been in a mature, um, conversation. If you've sat with people maybe your age or a little older, and see like their mature conversations, they're actually very interesting. They're much more interesting than the other, dramatic conversations. But um, but they're much more beneficial, and they're much more engaging. But that's the thing, it depends. If a person's maturity level is higher, then they'll talk about, oh, like, they'll talk about things like Hajj and Umrah, right? They'll talk about how to save money when you're traveling to Hajj or Umrah, or they'll talk about, healthy diets. They'll talk about better ways to, maximize in your sleep. They'll talk about like things which are actually interesting. Um, how to make your children listen to you. You'll hear like adults talking about these mature things, and they're very interesting. That's because that's what they like. But if you don't like those things, you don't like those mature topics, you just like talking about other people, you just like making fun of other people. So another reason why people, spread rumors or kind of talk about other people is because they like to make people laugh. They like to make fun of people so that people laugh and think they're funny and things like that. That's another motivation people have behind that. Um, so have you guys? I think you guys mentioned it, backbiting. talking behind someone's back. So gossiping, backbiting, they're pretty similar. Um, backbiting is what is backbiting? Anyone
Talk to
familiar?
Oh, it's like when someone talks about a person that's not here.
Yeah, and what kind of stuff are they saying about the person?
Like they're trying to like say like bad stuff about them
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. So backbiting is saying something behind someone's back, meaning not meaning like saying something about someone who's not there that they would not like to hear or they would not like you to say, right? Saying something bad about someone behind their back, right? So here's a little picture. This guy's wearing sunglasses, but he's basically not there, right? So this person on the left, let's see what he's saying. He's saying, you know, he is very dumb, talks too much, and a failure, right? And it sounds silly, but that's kind of what people backbite about. They say, oh, this person is so dumb, you know, he did this and that. He just talks too much. Yeah, talking too much is not really a good thing, but you shouldn't backbite about him about it, right? You should maybe advise him like, hey, you know, talking too much is not really a good quality. You should probably chill out on that, but don't talk bad about him behind his back. And now look at what this person on the right is saying. By saying that, you are hurting yourself and giving your good deeds to him. Have you guys heard of this concept before? That when you backbite about someone, you give them your good deeds?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
So how does that occur?
Since you're saying bad things to the person that you're making fun of or like saying bad things to, so
Yeah.
all your deeds they go away and then they give it to them or him,
Yeah.
that
So,
other person.
so how does that look?
Like
What
bad.
I, no, what I mean is like physically, how do you give your good deeds to another person? Like where are your good deeds? How do they get them? When do they get them?
Maybe
Is it the day of judgment?
The day of judgment, yes. So basically, we all know this, that we have a book of deeds, meaning a book of our good actions and our bad actions, right? So everything we do, and I talked about it before, everything we do, whether that's big or small, every word that we speak, anything harmful that we say to anyone or anything beneficial that we say to anyone, that's written down in the book. On the day of judgment, when after everyone has died and is resurrected, meaning everyone is given life again, then they'll get their book of deeds. We'll get our physical book, and it says, you know, this person did this, etc., all the way to the end. And a person who hurt other people or used to backbite about a lot of people, they will come in front of the court, right, in the day of judgment. And every person that they used to backbite about or that they've, you know, backbite about even once, they'll start forming a huge line in front of this person. So imagine the person is standing here and then there's this huge line in front of him of however many people, maybe could be 2, 3 people, it could be dozens of people, it could be hundreds of people, depending on how much they're backbiting. So the first person comes up to them and says, hey, I see that you were backbiting about me and you said this behind my back when I couldn't even hear. So give me your good deeds. So now this person will have to look in their book of deeds. And in some narrations, it says that our deeds will be like physical objects. Our deeds will be like a mountain of physical objects, that this is one deed and this is another deed, this is another good deed, etc. So either way, this person almost like a bank account. You guys have like in a bank account, you'll have like $1,000, etc. So imagine this person is coming up to him and saying, hey, you were backbiting about me and you said this and this, give me something from your bank account. So this person has to transfer their good deeds, some of their good deeds, to this person. Now this person leaves. Next person comes up, and this person will say, you were backbiting about me too, so give me your good deeds. And it keeps happening until a person comes and he says, give me some of your good deeds. This person looks in their account, right, their bank account of good deeds, and it's all gone. He's already given it all away to the people, but there's still so many people left in line. So what does he do now? What is he supposed to do now? What do you guys say? What happens now? Does everyone else just leave the line? Or is there something else that can happen? Any guesses?
What was the question?
If the person runs out of good deeds to give, but there's still so many people left in the line that this person has backbited about, what's going to happen now? Yeah, Arhan, do you have a guess?
Trying to think.
So now what happens is these people in line are going to give that person their bad deeds, because this person has no more good deeds to give. So they're going to be like, oh, you were backbiting about me. You said this and this behind my back. Here are some of my bad deeds. You can take them. So then this person will dump some of their bad deeds on this person, and then they'll leave. And next person will come and say, here, take some of my bad deeds. Now this person, right, this person who's backbiting about everyone, this person used to maybe have like a huge mountain of good deeds, but he had to give away some good deeds, a few at a time, to these people until the whole mountain of good deeds diminished, it went away. And then now this person kept taking bad deeds and bad deeds. Now this person is done, his judgment is done, and he has a huge mountain of bad deeds just because he used to backbite about people. So, it's a really bad habit. And to be honest, even people who are mature, even people who pray and are practicing, they don't eat haram, they dress the proper way, etc. Still, it's really easy to fall in this habit of backbiting, because let me tell you one reason is because, like Hassan said, it's just easy to start a conversation. It's easy. It's like entertaining. People like dramatic effects or dramatic stories, etc. So that's one thing. And another thing is, let's say you're in a gathering and you don't want to backbite. You don't want to backbite, but other people are backbiting. But you're in that gathering and you're in that conversation. So it's hard not to join, right? If everyone else is doing it, it's hard not to like join or laugh or have some sort of reaction. Best thing to do, what should we do in that situation? If we're in a group of maybe friends or family, and they start backbiting about another family member. That happens so much, right? You're spending time with your uncle and your cousins, and then they start backbiting about one of your other cousins. And you don't really feel comfortable about, because you learned this. You learned the harms of backbiting. You learn how big of a sin it is. So what can you do?
You can tell them to stop or just change the topic.
Yeah. So it depends how comfortable you are, how like responsive they will be. Sometimes they're elders. A good thing to do, ideally, and I've been in, gatherings where people have done this, where just remind them, oh, I think we've, unintentionally falled in, to backbiting this person. You say, oh, this conversation has become backbiting. I think it's better if we stop this and we change the topic. So some people, I've been in conversations where people do that. Um, they'll say, I don't feel comfortable backbiting, or they'll mention it clearly that this is backbiting. I don't think we should continue. So then that's the best thing to do. Another thing is just try to change the topic yourself. They talk about, oh, this person was, you know, um, this person was, speaking, and they couldn't speak. They had a lisp, and they didn't know how to pronounce words, blah blah blah, and they start mocking them. They start making fun of their accent, whatever. Just try to change the topic. Just completely think of a new topic, or if you're at someone's house, say, oh, like, this is a really nice, painting. Where did you get it? Just change the topic. And the other thing to do, if none of that works or you can't do anything, just try to like slip away from that gathering, because this one example, I've heard people say that if you walk into a perfume shop, you don't put on any perfume, you just walk into it and you walk out, then what are people going to smell on you? They're going to smell the perfume on you, even though you didn't spray any perfume. But just because you're in that gathering of, a perfume shop, you're going to smell like that. And another, example is, if you don't smoke yourself, but you go and you sit in a car where people are smoking, or you sit in a lounge where people are smoking, that smell of the cigarette is going to be on you, and wherever you go, that that bad odor of cigarette smoke is going to be on you. So not only that, but also just continuously being in that gathering, it's really easy to accidentally slip up and say, to accidentally slip up and join the conversation. So really try not to engage in backbiting. If you ever catch yourself talking about someone else, just immediately stop. You're in a gathering, you're having a conversation, and someone else's name comes up. Like, oh, like, I just met this person. So be really careful. What is your next, what are your next words? What are you going to say about this person? So try not to talk about other people. Try to keep other people's, try to keep mentioning other people away from your conversations. Arush has a really good question. What if the person you are talking about is really rude to you? So this is a good question. When is it okay to talk about someone behind their back? When is it okay? So let's talk about that, because this is really important. So let's have Aryan. Why don't you give one suggestion? When is it okay to talk about someone behind their back?
When you're complaining.
Yeah, but what level? Is it just, let's say you have a brother and you're complaining to your friend, oh, my brother's really annoying.
Not like complaining to your parents about something.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say like, a really good example is something happens at school. Some kid is bullying you, complain to your teacher, complain to your parent. That's something you should do. You shouldn't stay silent because it's harming you, right? So then you should speak up. Same thing like a husband and wife. If they're having problems which cannot be resolved and they need to seek advice, right? So basically, when you're seeking help or when you're seeking advice, that's when you should speak up, and you can complain about someone else. You can mention, things that they're doing, maybe some of their bad habits that are harming you. Then you speak up. Then you don't remain silent. But let's say if you're just venting, right? You're just complaining and saying, oh, this person does this and that. and you're not really seeking any advice. You're not really seeking any, solution to your problem. You're just trying to, let off steam. You're just trying to, release your stress by talking about it to someone without seeking any advice or problem solving. Then you should avoid that, because that just becomes complaining about the person just for the sake of complaining, right? So it's important to make that difference. If someone is harming you, then speak up. Another one is, and you guys are young, so they may not really pertain to you, but in the future, right? It's good to learn these things at this age, because you'll remember it, and it'll become easier. If you guys learn all these things in your older age, then it becomes harder to practice. So one thing is that if someone is trying to get married, and let's say, like, when you guys get older, one of your friend comes to you and says, hey, I'm interested in this one person, and I know you know them. I'm interested in this person for marriage. Do you know about them? Are they good? What kind of person are they? So then it's your duty to speak up and mention. Let's say that they are really rude, like they're a really rude person, or they have a really bad habit of smoking or whatever, things like that. Then you should speak up and you should mention that. That's not considered backbiting. You guys understand the scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, if someone wants a job, and then they ask for a reference, and they say, hey, I'm trying to hire this person as my employee, and I just wanted to know, since you know them, like, what do you know about them? Are they good? Are they honest? And if you know that they used to lie a lot, or that they do lie a lot, then you should speak up and say, I don't really know if this person is that honest. Then you should speak up, and that's not backbiting, because you're trying to avoid this person from getting harmed, right? So this is what we should keep in mind. Don't speak about other people just for the sake of entertainment, just for the sake of fun. But if something is important that comes up, someone is getting harmed, then you don't have to ignore that. You don't have to say, oh, I'm just going to mind my own business. Then you could speak up. Okay? Also, like, trying to find out secrets, like, let's say, again, this happens a lot at gatherings or just at home. People are sitting and talking, or people are on the phone. You hear family members on the phone. They're talking to their other family members, and they're saying, oh, this person did this, or this person just said this, or whatever. That's all gossip. That's all backbiting. It's all a bad habit. So sometimes what we do is we hear someone say something about someone else, and then our ear kind of like pays attention to it. And then after the phone conversation, then we go up to them, hey, like, who are you talking to? What were they saying? What happened? That has nothing to do with us. Just listen to what you heard and just let it come out the other ear. Don't try to go find out more things about that situation or that person, because that goes back to the hadith, that from the beauty of a person's Islam is that they leave what does not concern them. Is that you mind your own business. Don't try to, go looking for juicy, stories to hear and tell. It's not going to benefit you. Don't try to go search for secrets of other people. Because searching for secrets is just going to hurt either the other person, or it's going to hurt yourself. You may find out things that you would rather not want to know. Sometimes that happens, and I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with this, but sometimes that happens, that you look for you go through someone's privacy, and you search for secrets and secret information, and then you find out things which either they disturb you, or you wish that you didn't learn them. You wish that you never went through their secret messages or secret whatever. So that's also important. You don't want to hurt yourself by, you know, trying to find out other people's secrets. So again, minding your own business. That means not going through people's like phones, not going through people's. Obviously, for parents, when they monitor, the children's, uh, media, etc., that's different because children don't really know what they're doing. They could be talking to strangers. They can be talking to young other peers who are have a bad influence, etc. So that's different. But I'm talking about us just going through, just going and finding other people's business just for the sake of, entertainment and spreading rumors, etc. Arush, no, you don't have to write anything down. Okay, I think that's, let's see. Oh, backbiting. There is one more part that's mentioned in the Quran, um, that is like, backbiting is like, and this is kind of gruesome, but the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described backbiting in the Quran is that it's like you're eating the flesh of your dead brother. I know this sounds really disturbing, but basically the idea is you're talking bad about another Muslim and this person is not even able to defend themselves. Like if you're having a conversation and you're insulting someone, they can respond to you or they can defend themselves and say, they can say what you're saying is false. They can defend themselves. But if that person is not even there, then it's like you're hurting someone who's already dead, right? It's like you're backstabbing your brother who's already down. So it's a really bad sin. It's a really bad habit. It causes you to lose your good deeds and to take the bad deeds of other people. So just remember that. Just really remember that if you catch yourself backbiting, that what's happening is your good deeds are going away. All your hard-earned good deeds of praying and fasting and giving sadaqah and doing dhikr and reading Quran and coming to an Islamic class, etc. All these good deeds are going to go away. So try to cut it off immediately. Just make istighfar. So now, what should you do if you've already, you already were backbiting about someone? What do you do now? How do you seek their forgiveness? Well, you shouldn't go and tell them, right? You shouldn't go and tell them like, hey, I was backbiting about you and I was saying you're so short and ugly and no one likes you. Yeah, I just wanted to say sorry about that. Please forgive me. Do you think that's really gonna solve anything? That's gonna make things worse. This person is gonna start to dislike you. So don't do that. What you should do is make private istighfar, meaning privately ask Allah to forgive you for backbiting about that person. And we should do that right now. If oh Allah, forgive us all for backbiting about anyone that we've done, and we should have the intention that we won't engage in this sin. Also, backbiting just causes ill feelings amongst people, right? You go to person A and you backbite about person B to them, and then in another conversation you go to person B and you backbite about person A, and then behind your back you don't even know, but person A and person B are backbiting together about you. So now all of you have ill feelings towards each other and you guys don't even know. So it's just causing, the Muslim ummah, the Muslim community is supposed to be like one group, one body. That's why we all pray together in the masjid. But if we're causing, the Muslim ummah to split, we're causing problems between brothers and sisters and family members and friends by backbiting, that's splitting up the ummah, and that's something that's, it's a major sin. So, like I said, if you were backbiting about someone, then just privately ask Allah to forgive you for that. But now what happens if you were backbiting about someone and, that person heard that you were backbiting about them, or that person found out that you were backbiting about them? Now what you should do is go and ask them for forgiveness. If you know that they know that you were backbiting, then it's really hard to do so, but you should say, hey, I'm sorry I was saying this about you, and just sincerely ask them for forgiveness. Okay. So does anyone have any questions about this or any other comments? Take that as a no. Okay. Again, this is something that's really common. It's a really hard habit to break, and it's really really easy to fall into. That even people who are religious, people who read the Quran a lot and pray, it's really hard not to fall into this. So just really try to actively stay away from this. Try not, if you're in a conversation with it, just try to stay quiet. Try to change the topic. Try to remind them that backbiting is not good in a nice way. Try to do it in a nice way, and just constantly every day try to ask for forgiveness before going to sleep. Just think, was I backbiting about someone? And then just ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness so that you don't have to give your good deeds away on the day of judgment. Our hard-earned good deeds. Okay. All right. So very good. That's it for this topic. Next week we'll have a new topic. Okay. If there's no questions, then I'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Take care.
Well,
Lafis.
Walaikum
Walaikum salam.